Hello everyone, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040 and welcome to another edition of the Flash Season 9 review series. And today I am going to be talking about Episode 3, Rogues of War, which I have just finished watching. And this episode was very up and down. I didn't really enjoy this one a great deal. But, however, there were a few moments in this episode that weren't too bad. But at the same time, there was some stuff going on that I wouldn't necessarily say I disliked, but I didn't care for it either, which is a shame really, because this is supposed to be the final season of The Flash. We're 3 episodes in already, and, it's the last Arrowverse show standing. I really was expecting the show to really pull out all the stops to give us an epic final season. They still might, because we're only 3 episodes in. You never know. They could still surprise us. But, yeah, I don't know really. I didn't really enjoy this one a great deal. And we finally got the reveal of Red Death, which, for a villain as big as Red Death, I mean, this is a shout out to all fellow hardcore comic book geekers, and myself included. You would have thought the reveal of Red Death would have been saved for maybe a later episode, perhaps, but considering we already know who the Red Death is, this reveal just wasn't one of those things where, oh my god, I can't believe it's that person. It was just like, yeah, we know already, and the element of surprise was not that great. If they had kept it under wraps, not leaked any pictures of who the Red Death is, then yes, this would have been like kaboom. This would have been a mind-blowing moment. It didn't happen here. And plus the fact that we're not getting Bruce Wayne as Red Death, or even Oliver Queen for that matter. I don't know. There just wasn't really enough to care about, really. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing how they'll execute Red Death, but at the same time, as I mentioned, we're not going to get either of those guys for Season 9. What can you do, really? It is what it is, but yeah, as I said, this episode, not terrible, but not great either. Just pretty average, really. So I'm going to give a quick recap of what's happened so far, and then we're going to get straight into talking about episode 3. So we see a new Caitlin, who's neither Frost or Caitlin. She addresses herself as Snow, so basically she's a blank slate as a result from the CRC malfunction, and Mark has obviously been on a mission to try and restore Frost as well. And we've seen Hartley get attacked by a new Fiddler, and we see he's been trying to take out this new Fiddler, and we see the Flash convinces him not to, and we see Mercer steals Hartley's sonic gauntlets, and we now learn that Red Death is the one pulling all of the strings, and as we saw at the end of episode 2, Red Death finally revealed themselves using the sonic gauntlets to stabilize themselves into a physical form and declaring to Central City that Barry Allen is going to pay for his actions. So, although episode 2 wasn't that great, the reveal of Red Death at the end of that episode was quite epic and really set the stage for, what's to come. But the idea of this blank slate not being Caitlin or not being Frost either, not really much to get your teeth into, but we'll see really. But that's pretty much what happened at the end of episode 2, and this brings us straight into episode 3, which sees the formation of a new rogues gang. Not as good as the old one, but a new rogues gang nonetheless. So, with that all said, let's not waste any more time. Let's get straight into it. Let's talk about episode 3, Rogues of War. So, we open this episode with a heist at Corbin Taft Industries, where we see Boomerang and Fiddler steal something, as aided by Murmur. Meanwhile, we see in Paris, Barry and Iris are taking cooking classes, and they excel at their assignment thanks to using flash time, but they are quickly called away by an emergency back at Central City. We then see at Star Labs, Chester tries to talk to Allegra, but she constantly shuts him down and avoids him. Yeah, anyway, don't care. And Keone brings some plants into the facility. Keone is aware that there is something going on there, and Chester is worried about the situation, and we see Barry and Iris meet up with Kramer at the crime scene and determine a temporal scanner was stolen. It's becoming clear that the things being stolen are components for a cosmic treadmill, but they don't know why this is happening. Barry is concerned about what this means for the timeline. However, they are missing one major piece: a vibration engine. Now, this cosmic treadmill, for hardcore geeks out there that know what that is, a cosmic treadmill is basically enables a speedster to run really fast to the point where they can create a portal and go into other different dimensions. Now, we saw back in Crisis on Infinite Earths, we saw the Flash of Earth 90 use the treadmill to sacrifice himself, and we've seen Godspeed use this as well a number of times, so obviously that is a reference to both of those moments, so it's cool we're getting to see that again. So we then see Barry and Iris meet with Hartley, and it turns out he wants the engine too, but for his new gauntlets. The Department of Defense has the only one, and it's stored outside Central City. Asking the DoD for it isn't an option, and Hartley suggests that to keep the villains from it, they have to steal it first. Hartley suggests putting together a team of their own rogues to beat the bad guys to the punch. Interesting. Hartley pitches his plan to Team Flash, and they're very skeptical. However, Keone is on his side and helps sell the team on the idea that their rogues will do the right thing. Time is of the essence. Iris sets out on trying to find out who is actually behind all of this and who the benefactor is. While they get to work, Barry goes recruiting. He and Hartley easily recruit Jacko, aka the Hotness, and then they go to recruit Mark, who they find in a bar drinking. He's angry at Hartley for destroying the CRC. Barry asks him to help them anyway. He agrees because it's what Caitlin would want him to do. Then Hartley and Barry go to recruit their last member, Goldface, who has apparently sold out Amunet. And they say true love never dies. They manage to recruit Goldface, but it's revealed they are being spied on. The newly put together team of rogues meet at Star Labs to work out what the next move is for their plan, but things don't go very well. The rogues have their interpersonal disagreements. Barry's still hiding his secret identity as the Flash. The tipping point comes when they ask about what happens to the engine. They all want their cut of the score, and as tensions continue to rise, a fight nearly breaks up, but Barry quickly shuts it down and says he's going to just stick with them. This makes the team feel like they don't trust him, so they vote him off the team. Interesting. Iris and Chester figure out that the tech the rogues are using were all made by the same person, but they can't figure out the connection. Barry is stressed. Iris has no lead. She's also stressed about how there is nothing for her to accomplish for herself, and she's worried that once they have children, there won't be any time for her to do so. She feels like she needs one big story to break before Nora is born. Iris convinces Barry to trust the rogues, and as he faces off, Chester finally figures out the connection for the bad rogues. Their weapons are prototypes from Wayne Enterprises. Keone and Allegra talk, and Allegra says she can't get involved with Chester right now, says Keone says she's like a daffodil and she needs to let go so she can blossom into a flower. Barry shows up at the heist and says they will follow Hartley's plan. Hartley will get the engine, but he has to buy out the rest of the team. Goldface finally figures out that Barry is the Flash, something Jacko had already figured out, much to Barry's surprise. See, this is why sometimes I prefer the DCAU, because, I never forget, and I always go back to this moment, I never forget at the end of Season 2 of the Justice League animated series, it was the end of the world, the Thanagarians had taken over, and Batman revealed his secret identity to everyone, and everybody was shocked. And that's what made it so more insane, because no one could believe that Bruce Wayne and Batman were the same person. Wonder Woman had her ideas, she had her suspicions. Superman, of course, already knew, but the Flash couldn't believe it. He said, really? Bruce Wayne is Batman? This is crazy. But here, it seems like everybody knows Barry Allen is the Flash, and I don't like that. It gets a bit old after a while. I've always liked the idea that a hero's secret identity should be with only, girlfriend, of course, and very close friends, or, the father figure, whoever that may be. But the idea of everyone knowing who the Flash is just gets old after a while, and it has got old, if I'm truly honest. So we see the heist has begun. The Rogue Squad starts their efforts to turn off the meta dampener, and Barry is able to get the engine from the safe. However, Mark double-crosses the team, as he is revealed to be working for the mysterious benefactor. Hartley prepares to go help Barry, but he's enraged by Murmur, while Jacko is engaged by Fiddler and Goldface by Boomerang. Mark confronts Barry and says that he had no choice but to join up with the benefactor, who shows up right before Barry did when Barry came to ask for help. The benefactor has promised to help bring Frost back. Mark knocks Barry out and takes the engine. The Rogue Squad fights the bad rogues, including a very awesome exchange between Pied Piper and Murmur in the ACL, where Murmur tries to recruit him, but he declines. Jacko makes a romantic connection with Fiddler over 9 Inch Nails music, though she still beats him anyway. We then see a final confrontation outside between the Flash and the Rogue Squad and the bad rogues, and just then everyone is taken down by mysterious speedster who reveals themselves to be none other than Red Death, who takes Barry's speed. Now, this was a cool entrance for a villain. The slow walk, the smoke, and you just see the red bat symbol glowing. Very cool entrance for a villain, I must say. Red Death is apparently using negative speed. They only dampened Barry's speed. The whole situation has now become more about than just the tech. So Barry asks his Rogue Squad for their help, and they agree, telling Barry to find out who the Red Death is and their weakness, and then call them once they've got the information. Chester explains to Team Flash that while the Rogue's tech resembles Wayne technology, it's far more advanced, and he also reveals that Ryan Wilder, aka Batwoman, went out on a mission and has never returned, meaning that she's missing. We then see at the end, at Red Death's lair, Mark wants what he was promised, but Red Death changes the deal. He says he can't trust them because he doesn't know who is under the mask. So Red Death unmasks, and it turns out to be none other than Batwoman, aka Ryan Wilder, with a long white streak in her hair. And she corners Mark and says, "I am vengeance." And that's how we end episode 3. Overall, a very so-so episode. I didn't really enjoy this one a lot. The Red Death stuff was pretty decent, I thought. Yes, we got to see more of Barry Allen, but we didn't really get to see him enough as the Flash, so that loses a couple of points with me. The whole Chester and Allegra stuff, again, I've said it from the very beginning, don't care for that. Other than that, this episode didn't have much going for it. Red Death being revealed to be none other than Ryan Wilder, didn't quite pack the oh my god moment feel that I was hoping for, because it was already revealed when, the show was confirmed for season 9 that Ryan Wilder was going to be Batman. So the elements of surprise pretty much fell flat for me. So it wasn't really a big surprise. If they'd kept the identity a secret, maybe revealed it later on, maybe like the middle of the season, then yeah, I probably would have been a bit more sold. But other than that, this episode was kind of a hit and miss for me. But let's see, really. Red Death has now been revealed. Red Death has been revealed to be none other than Ryan Wilder. How did Ryan Wilder become Red Death? We'll find out in the next episode. But yeah, episode 3, not that great, if I'm truly honest. So that's going to be it from me. I am going to wrap this up now. What was your thoughts on episode 3? Did you enjoy it? What did you think of Barry and Hartley working together to form their own rogues? Did you enjoy that? How do you feel about Mark switching sides and working with the other rogues gang? Are you invested in that? And what's your thoughts on Ryan Wilder being revealed to be Red Death? Did you see it coming? Are you excited about it, or are you not that bothered? And also, how did Ryan Wilder become a speedster? Do you think we'll find out in the next episode? You know what to do, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below, and I will see all of you next time for another edition of the Flash Season 9 review series, where I am going to be talking about episode 4, which I'm hoping is going to be a lot better than this one. And with the way this episode ended and the whole reveal of Red Death's identity, fingers crossed that the next episode is going to deliver. So until next time, take care everybody and stay safe, and once again, as always, much appreciated. Thanks for listening.